Welcome back. I am Chris Sununu, sitting in for Chris Cuomo tonight. So why did a 23-year-old decide to go back to the Catholic school that he attended and open fire on young children while they were praying, injuring 18, killing 2, including an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old? Well, tonight, we do have more information about the killer's motive and the relationship he had with his mother, who is refusing to cooperate with police but has now hired a lawyer. So for the latest, we're going to go to NewsNation's Brian Entin, who's been on the scene in Minneapolis since the day of the massacre. Brian.
Yeah, hey Chris, I'm outside the church tonight. The Catholic church is behind me. There's actually a vigil that's about to start in a little while. You can see all the people gathered. I've covered a lot of these shootings, Chris. I've never seen anything quite like this, where there are always people there and they are always bringing flowers, and the entire church is surrounded by flowers. It's just been so emotional for the last couple of days here. In terms of the shooter's mother, yesterday the police chief told us that they were not able to talk to her yet, that she was not talking. There were reports overnight that she hired a criminal defense attorney here in Minneapolis. And then today, when we had a chance to talk with the assistant police chief, he said that there has now been conversations with the shooter's mother. So the story has changed from yesterday to today. In terms of the shooter, some new things that we're learning, Chris. There are reports that there was a medical mental health call at one point in the last couple of years involving him, that he recently broke up with his romantic partner, and that there was also a 2018 welfare check. So you always wonder about warning signs. Apparently there were some warning signs there in terms of his mental health. And lastly, we've been talking about this manifesto and these just really, really disturbing journals that he had about wanting to kill children. Much of it, strangely, is in Russian. And we've been slowly translating the Russian text to figure out exactly what he was writing. And I want to read you part of it that we just translated a little while ago. It says, this is the shooter writing this, and this is sort of addressed to his mother. Your words, mother, made me stay in my discomfort, unable to ask for help to avoid admitting defeat. You were right, mama, but the way you handled it led me to wanting to kill so many people. Gender and weed effed up my head. I wish I never tried experimenting with either. Don't let your kids smoke weed or change gender until they are like 17. So just one of the paragraphs out of literally thousands of pages, and much of it is just so disturbing, Chris.
And Brian, I just want to stay with you for a second. I mean, the mom has gotten a lawyer, but we should recognize this is a 23-year-old, not a minor. Has some previous shootings where the parents were held liable in some form or another. This was a 23-year-old. Was he? Do you happen to know? Was he living with his mother? Is there a fear there that that connection is obviously going to bring legal ramifications upon it?
No, he wasn't living her, from what we can tell. I actually went to his apartment yesterday. From what I can tell, I think she lives in Florida now. She's got a condo down in Florida. She used to work here at the church. And there are red flag laws, by the way, in Minnesota. So it actually went on the books in January of last year. So essentially, if you're concerned about one of your family members who has mental health issues and they have guns, you can just fill out this form on a website, they'll review it, and then the sheriff's office will actually take their guns away. And a lot of people are wondering why no one did that in this case.
Yeah. Brian, cannot thank you enough. On the scene, obviously there's going to be a continuing story as it develops. Thank you for the reporting. Now, let's bring in a retired FBI Supervisory Special Agent, James Gagliano, and NewsNation's legal contributor, Jesse Weber. So, Jesse, great to see you in studio with me. But I'm gonna start with James first, if you don't mind. James, thank you for joining us. Fed, local police, where are they right now in a case like this? What are they doing?
Sure, Governor. First of all, good to join you and Jesse. Look, let's just start with the fact that this was a real-life miracle. We know that 2 young children were tragically killed, but the shooter had done some pre-planning on this, and had actually tried to blockade the doors to prevent people from escaping, shot one of 3 weapons. He had a handgun, a semi-automatic pistol, had an AR-style rifle, and had a shotgun, fired 116 rounds. And unfortunately, 2 young children were lost, but it appears everybody else is going to make a full recovery. where are we right now in the investigation? Well, you kind of touched on it at the top of this. Some of the lunacy, the insane writings and musings of this person that was clearly disturbed. And this person fits the mold. It's a young, disaffected, disconnected, disenfranchised male in this case. And some of the hatred, whether it was bigotry aimed at African Americans or aimed at Catholics or aimed at Jews, but clearly just hate. So right now, what's going on is everything's being scrubbed from the media. So we call that digital exhaust. The FBI and local and state law enforcement partners are going through scrubbing iPads and cell phone data, seeing where this person traveled, who they talked to. Look, we can't interview this person. They obviously took their own life like a coward, but there's going to be a lot of work done here to see what went wrong, why the red flags that you just talked about didn't result in interdicting this person sooner.
And Jesse, I want to go to you on the red flag issue. Lots of states have red flag laws. They're all a little bit different. Some say they don't work, some say they do. New one in this state. Could it have worked? Should more have been done? Are there things to be learned to either add on to that law to make it more effective, or to say, look, this stuff isn't viable?
What I'm about to say is without me knowing all the facts of this case, but what I will say is it was new. And a lot of times when a law is new, not a lot of people know about it. And that's a problem all the time. I mean, I've talked about it all the time with safe haven laws with young pregnant women. They don't even know that they have an avenue to actually drop off a baby without facing consequences. So this could have been a situation where even if people had concerns about the shooter, they might not have known that they can petition a court. And actually, by the way, I believe out of almost 300 petitions in the past year, 14 were actually denied. So a court will look at it, they look at the evidence, they hear what it is. It doesn't mean they automatically will take someone's weapons away for those who are concerned about Second Amendment right, but it really is a big deal. They might not have known about it. Now, what is a red flag? What is a warning sign? Not everybody has a crystal ball. There might be a situation where people are troubled. We're looking at the mother right now. Now, to be clear about something, lawyering up. Could it be that this is just benign, that this is a situation where her child just committed a mass shooting and she's concerned about her rights and what to do? Absolutely. But we're in a post-Crumbly world, right? So now becomes the question, did she know about anything? Did she aid, abet, encourage in any way? That's how she'd be legally liable, but it's different. You mentioned it before. Not a minor, didn't live with her, and also legally purchased these three firearms. So we're kind of in the stages where we're guessing what's going on right now. Obviously, hindsight's 20/20. We wish we could have prevented this, but no criminal record, maybe past welfare check, but what else could have been done? That's the scary part.
And she's technically living in Florida, I believe. So who in this situation takes the lead? Is it the state? Is it feds? Who's?
It's a multi-agency investigation, and I believe they've collected 158 pieces of evidence with respect to the shooter itself. And like James was saying, this now becomes the question of the why and what connections this shooter had, looking at the writings, looking at any posts, who knew what. Because it's not just about potentially holding someone criminally liable. It's how do you prevent this in the future?
That's right.
That's what we have to do. And honestly, unfortunately, as we see time and time again, that might not be possible.
Yeah. Prevention's everything, right?
Yeah.
So I want to go back to you, James. You know, there were supposedly YouTube videos posted and all that. Are there predictors here that potentially could have been seen, should have been seen? Are they looking at that as an opportunity?
Yeah, and Governor, this is the tough one. You know, you can go down the rabbit hole, and we live in a country with that we cherish our First Amendment freedoms. People can say things in the heat of the moment. They can say things that are hyperbolic or satirical, and sometimes trying to winnow through all that and find out who really means what they're saying. You know, which is farce and which is, hey, this person is a threat. And look, one of the things that we're dealing with right now are these extreme risk protection orders that you guys were kind of touching on with the red flag laws. 21 states have them. They have them here in New York where we are. But the problem is not a lot of people are aware of them. What does it mean? Well, a family member, a loved one, a fellow school chum can go forward to authorities. There's even online forms you can fill out, and they can say, hey, this person has made some horrific threats and said they want to kill young children, or they want to kill Jews, or to kill some other demographic group. And in that instance, their weapons could be seized, and then that person has to go back and petition to get them back. I'm hoping that shows like this will kind of put that out there to people, that the old see something, say something really abides here, and this could be the margin of victory going forward, not just for people who are like homicidal maniacs, but also people predisposed to potential suicidal ideations.
But you both bring up, see something, say something. How do you say something? What is the access point? You can have the greatest system in the world, but if folks don't know, if the average citizens don't know how to access that, then the system fails before it even gets to start. So James Gagliano, Jesse, thank you for joining us. Obviously, a tough story, going to be continuing. Lots to be talking about on that one. Thank you, guys.
You got it.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.